What do you guys want to talk about?
Welcome to the A Train Show. And now here's your host, the A Train, Arlington Lane.
Hey, fellas, what's your name?
Say who?
Say Willie, say hey.
Say who?
Swinging at the plate, say hey.
Say who?
Say Willie, that giant kid is great. When he hits the ball, it's long gone man. Hits it farther than camp he can. Swings the bat like a little lead pipe. When they reach the ball, it's overripe. Say hey.
Welcome to this edition of the A Train Show, the A Train Arlington Lane. Yeah, that music that you hear in the background is none other than the Cheniers with the song Say Hey. For those that did not know, but it was pretty much highly known, especially at the end of the night, we have lost legend Willie Mays. Willie Mays died yesterday at the age of 93. And here we are on a Juneteenth day, and then we had it's a special week coming up weekend for Major League Baseball. They already started yesterday with the Double-A game over in Richwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. I think it was the Birmingham Barons play ball. Making sure that, because Rickwood Field is where they're playing at. And, you look at it, they got the Giants and the Cardinal game that's coming up this weekend from Rickwood Field. They're doing their minor league baseball, Negro League baseball special. If you haven't noticed, they have been able to incorporate the Negro League stats into Major League stats, and a lot of the different records have now been broken because of it. But yeah, Willie Mays, as you can see, was, in my opinion, the greatest baseball player of all time. I know we got a show here on the network with GOAT Talk, right? And so I hope they have this conversation on the greatest baseball players, to ever play the game. Rankings, if you look at how Willie played the game of baseball, Willie was a 5'2" player, and you can see that catch there. Not quite sure if that was the catch, the infamous catch that everybody remembers seeing 70 years ago in the World Series, when he made the over-the-shoulder catch that people talk about. But Willie could hit for average. He could field. He could throw. He could run. And he could hit for power. 660 home runs in his career. That right now, I think that sits 5th all time. Let's see: Bonds, Aaron, Ruth, Pujols. No, it's further down the list now, because I think I was thinking about A-Rod and all that stuff. At one point, I think I remember about 30 years ago. 30 years ago, he was sitting at 3rd all time behind Ruth and Hank Aaron. Ever since then, that list has transcended, and it's like, wow. Many athletes have been able to surpass Willie Mays, and he's 6'6" right now. That's right. Okay. sixth all time. And if you look at his body of work, Willie really was the GOAT. He had a 300 average when he retired. He was second all time in home runs when he retired. He was able to steal over 300 bases, one of the first players ever to steal 300 bases and get 300 home runs in a career. And not to mention that he was the godfather of one Barry Bonds, and who himself became the first player to ever have 500 home runs and 500 steals in a career. But a lot of it attributes to what Willie Mays' style play was, and himself being a 24-time All-Star. Not too many people will remember, and historians definitely love it, but back in the 1959 to 1962, they used to do 2 All-Star games, one for the National League and one for the American League. And from 59 to 62, Willie Mays played in 8 All-Star games. So that means the 4 that was during those seasons, then the 4 that was also during those seasons. So the 2, so that's what contributes to the 24 time. He's like, well, how many times did they play an All-Star game? 24 times. He was a 2-time MVP. He was a World Series champion in 1954. A lot of people in history go back to the over-the-shoulder catch that he made in Game 1, the 1954 World Series. And it was an amazing catch, but the thing is that I've learned about Willie Mays was that was routine for him. That was done easily. He said he could have made that catch in his sleep. And if you watch, there's video around where he would just do basket catches. That's how good of a player that Willie Mays was. And not to mention, Willie Mays came from the Negro Leagues, which is why the celebration, and it makes the tribute even that much more greater this weekend with the Giants and the Cardinals at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. It makes it greater because that's where he started his pro career to getting into the major leagues in 1951. And a lot of players that are in the Hall of Fame, black players that are in the Hall of Fame today, contribute the Negro Leagues to where, to them being in the Hall of Fame or being able to play Major League Baseball. Willie Mays being one of them, Satchel Paige another, of course, Jackie Robinson. We did not get to see or you heard about Josh Gibson, but you did not get to historically see him in a major league uniform, in which many of his white counterparts believe that he was probably the greatest hitter to ever live. But as in a player, a 5'2" player like Willie Mays was the greatest baseball player of all time. You really can't debate it. Even Ted Williams, which many have considered him the greatest hitter to ever live, say that Willie Mays, and this was in 1994, said that Willie Mays was the greatest player he had ever seen. And you read the histories about him missing a season and a half to go overseas for the war, and he came back in 54, won the MVP, got a championship in the old Polo Grounds. And a lot of people don't realize the catch that he made, that was 440 feet deep. Anywhere else that you see that's a home run given. But the way that the Polo Grounds was made up, there was deep shots out in left center, right center, and even in center field. Center field, hitting a home run there, you had to hit it at least 460 feet. He hit it 400. Vic Wertz hit it 440 feet just for him to make that type of catch. Like I said, anywhere else, that's a home run, easy. You would call it a tape measure shot of sorts. But that's the cool thing about Willie. Willie was able to Really, exactly. He was able to change the game of baseball, and is definitely responsible for the way players play in today's game. He's one of the reasons, and the reason why we get Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. Um, you get guys like Andrew McCutcheon, that were 5 tool players. What's going on, Dre? Good seeing you, man. I didn't acknowledge you Monday, but I definitely want to acknowledge you here on the show today. But that is that was the thing that I learned about um how you think we got Jackie Robinson? Branch Rickey. Branch Rickey is the reason we got Jackie Robinson. And a lot of that, and I know a lot of people don't. And what's my man name? The Pittsburgh Gazette. I can't think of it. Man, the name escapes me. Oh, what was that sports writer's name? It was in the movie 42 with Chadwick Boseman. Man, I can't think of the name. Somebody get it for me. He's also contributed to having Jackie Robinson get into the game of baseball, Major League Baseball. And we could have had, I mentioned guys like Satchel Paige and Larry Doby, Minnie Minoso. They were playing in playing in the Negro leagues and then getting up to play. You meant the style. I get what you're saying, man. And that was the thing. Willie Mays was not even 6 feet tall. That's what makes it so profound with him. So he wasn't even 6 feet. He was 5'10". He was like, well, that's close to 6 feet. Still, if you compare that to the 6 or the 5 home run hitters above him, they were all over 6 feet, at least. And Willie is like the shortest man in that 600 home run club. So it's profound that a short guy with so much power, and he had so much speed. Because if you saw him run, he always had his hat flying off. Especially if you'll hear it in the song. If you ever get a chance, check out the song by the Treniers, Treniers. It's to Say Hey Willie, the Willie Mays song. You'll hear his cap flies off as he passes third, and he heads home like an evil bird. That's a hell of a lyric, but that's the style of play that Willie Mays had, when he played the game of baseball. And, played with the Giants franchise for 20 years, 21 years, 22 years of sorts. And then he finished his career off with the New York Mets, retiring after 1973 World Series. So he had a long storied career, played in many All-Star games, an MVP. And one thing that I got to see was the video where when he played in New York, they'd go out and play with the kids, an hour, 2 hours. And he was that type of fan, imagine being out on the street playing ball and you playing with Wendell Smith. Thank you. That was it. Wendell Smith was the writer. I couldn't think of his name to save me, but thank you for that. The dynamic impact that he had with the kids, read stories online about seeing Willie Mays at Candlestick Park. Thanks, Neil. Seeing him young age at 12. My dad would tell me stories about going to see the Giants and seeing 2 of his favorite players, or actually it was his father's favorite players, Willie Mays and Willie McCovey, who was a dynamic duo together when they played for the Giants. They got to the chance to correction, it was the Gazette, Courier. Okay. One of the things about that was getting to see him at old Busch Stadium. There's in St. Louis, there's 3 Busch Stadiums, not 2. There was the one where currently right now is the Herbert Hoover Boys and Girls Club. It's set there on Grand and Dottier. Then, of course, everybody knows about the circular arch one. That was Busch 2. And then Busch 3, of course, is what the current stadium is right now for the St. Louis Cardinals. But he said he got a chance to see him play in the grandstands, as a young boy. And so, that those stories are amazing when you get a chance to hear and learn about what type of athletes these guys were and how they want to meet everybody. I know these days we look at athletes and, people want to get close to them, and athletes don't want that. They want their privacy. Willie was more open to even in times where athletes would be looked at to have harm caused to them. Now I would not be surprised if I know Willie had to deal with a lot of crap, dealing with people that were not very nice, if you know what I mean, and how he was able to excel in the game of baseball. And I would love to hear that side of the story of how he was able to deal with that on a daily basis, and having a manager like a Leo DeRocher that was able to maintain high energy, for him, because Leo loved him some Willie Mays out in center field, because he knew there's not too many times where a ball was not going to be caught, or not a fielding play was going to happen. So, yeah, Willie Mays, 93 years of age, died on yesterday, and we did lose a legend. And that was crazy because shout out to if you see my shirt here, I got my Red Fox and Rodney Dangerfield. If you know me, this is me and Dirty Spurge, excuse me. But the thing about Willie Mays, was that he was the prototype baseball player that you will want on your team. And it's amazing. He only had the one championship, and having the Willie McCoveys and the Orlando Cepedas on the squad, that Juan Marichal. You would think a team of that nature would be in championships all the time, but they had to deal with a lot of teams during that era that were just as good as they were. And you got the one championship in 54, and he tried to get it in San Francisco in 62. And then, the San Francisco Giants, they love them some Willie Mays. Okay. All right. But again, Willie Mays, dead at the age of 93. He was supposed to appear at the major league game between Giants and Cardinals, but it was like sickness was at the time. This was just before he had passed. It said he was not going to be able to make the game. And then, like, literally hours later, they announced he had died due to a heart attack at 93. All right. But Willie Mays transcended the game of baseball. He's definitely someone I admire as a player. And one of the things I learned about was that Vin Scully and Willie Mays did not meet each other until 2016. And I'm like, as many battles as they had, now I need to know the story of Vin Scully, what he used to do game in and game out, especially when the Dodgers and Giants got together. Like, not one time you didn't get to meet Willie Mays in that era. It was very interesting to me. So we'll see what happens with that. But the great Willie Mays, dead at the age of 93. I'm going to come back because I'm late for a break. We'll come back with more of the show right after this. You're tuning in to the A-Train Show right here on Fuel Sports Network.
same great taste.
Back on this edition of the A Train Show, the A Train Arlington Lane. The story career of Willie Mays is unprecedented. It is an amazing career, but 93 years, and he's gone. I mean, he lived a wonderful life. So definitely want to send our condolences out to his family and those that are close to him. And what's going on, Excalibur? Welcome to the program. All right, it's Juneteenth today. So how are you celebrating your Juneteenth? I know I'm off today, and definitely getting a chance to kick back and be with you guys here on Wild Wednesday. I wanted to discuss a little bit of what's been going on in the W. One thing that I've seen for sure this season is it's been constant. It's been one person, and this one person, the name has impact, but the person is like not really wanting that type of attention. Of course, that's Caitlin Clark. But there is one thing I want to show you, and it's a little bit lengthy, but it's okay. But I want you to understand where this person is coming from when they make this comment. All right. And going to a celebration. That's right. You did say happy birthday in advance to you, Sabrina. So if you do have a birthday coming up, please let me know so that way I can get you a shout out on the show. We're definitely going to talk some wrestling. If not today, we're definitely talking it on Friday because Robert Bailey Jr. is going to be back on the show. We're going to have a few friends with us. So you want to stay tuned with that. You want to hear from their sides as well. I'm talking about younger people. All right. So definitely tune in on Friday for Fun Friday. All right. Sinead Ogumike. She's when I say she is one of the most beautiful women on the planet. All right, stop. Okay. But she has a message for fans, new fans, on getting understanding on, even for broadcasters that talk about it. It's worthy of it. Yes, it's lengthy. I'm putting it in this segment because you have to hear it to understand where they're coming from. All right. So here she is on the message. Go ahead, Sinead. It's up to you.
This is the moment that we've been waiting for in women's basketball. And honestly, it's way bigger than that. This is the moment that we've been waiting for in women's sports, but we cannot fumble it. I'm not gonna lie, this conversation has your girl tired. I literally just got back from the studio, but I wanted to get this off of my chest because this moment that we're in was never guaranteed, but it's here. We are all witnessing this unprecedented moment of change, and not just like your regular schmegular change, that transformational change that can close the gap of equity, of opportunity, of how we see one another through the lens of sports. But here's the problem. Women's sports are right now being subjected to some of the most polarizing aspects of society. The discourse is operating at the intersection of race, of gender. It's even being weaponized by politics. The endless debates are overshadowing the beauty of the game. Yes, people are captivated, and don't get me wrong, we want conversation, but we want it to be constructive, which is why I hope that everyone sees that the dialogue surrounding women's sports has to change. Why? because words influence perception. Words can transform a league that has existed for 28 years and elevate it to the next level, while also being entertaining, of course. For so long, women's sports has only accounted for 4% of visibility. And that number, it's going up by the day. It's actually 15% as of last year. But imagine if we were able to make that increase in coverage truly count. Now, how do we do that? By not only creating spaces for the right voices, but by also being willing to listen to what those voices have to say. And I mean that from the broadcast all the way down to the comment section. Yes, I am looking at you who dropped into my comment section once again. I respect the eagerness. I respect the excitement, the passion for the moment that we're in right now. But I do think we need a moment of reset, a moment to catch our breath and listen, truly listen. Because the growth of women's sports, the growth of the women's game is happening. But we also have to learn from these growing pains. And isn't that what life is all about? Whether you're supporting one player or all players, or you got that ride or die squad that you really root for, we're all in the same place. And you have the power to move the needle. But it's your choice whether or not you choose to move it in the right direction. All right, it's your girl, Shanae. They're already calling me to go back into studio. Let's please.
All right. I wanted to make sure I threw that out there. I'm sorry, it's Ngumake. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that, I promise. Because it was hard like Giannis Antetokounmpo. I was having a problem with that for a while. But I wanted y'all to see that because it's so important by how everything is being transpired in the game of the WNBA today. And a message from a former WNBA player, now turned broadcaster. It was important because you have to understand that this league has been around for 28 years. It has been crapped on year in and year out, especially from a marketing standpoint. Even from those that's in the league now, they don't like what's been going on with the league, but there has been growth. But one person has not put that growth on. The class has brought it to a bigger standard. Yes, which means when we get players like Paige Buchers coming in, we're going to get players like Juju Watkins. Lord have mercy, Jesus. I'm hoping that she has a full 4 years at USC. I know I would love for her to jump now. I don't want her to jump next year, but because I want to know that I understand, like, yes, Caitlin Clark is a great player, but let's get something clear here. It's not just about her. This is about everybody. And Angel Reese's and the Cameron Brinks and the Kate Martins and the Sabrina Ionescu's and the Asia Wilsons and the Brianna Stewarts and the Nafisa Colliers. You have to understand, and I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit, Sabrina. I see a comment. This is what made the league, right? The Brittany Griners, the Diana Taurasi's, all right? Everybody's getting weaponized because of who they are as individuals and because they have spoken out on certain stuff. So now it's Caitlin Clark against the world. And even Caitlin Clark don't even want that. Caitlin Clark, just like she said, she want to play basketball. Thank goodness she actually did say something about people that's fans of hers to try and calm it down. It took some pressure, and it needed that pressure to be posted, talking about that. There's one point she was like, I'm not really paying attention to it, but we know you were paying attention to it. But I'm glad that pressure has been placed and you have spoken about it. It took some time, but you spoke about it greatly. Yes, that's the thing. This is about everybody in the league, and you got to watch all the teams. Like, I saw some great basketball on Sunday. Yes, I get it. Chicago and Indiana. That's going to be a great rivalry. It's going to bring back Bulls Pacers type of intensity during the mid to late 90s. That was fun. Those were fun matchups. And I think that's where it is now with the Chicago and Indiana teams. But you said, what's up with the Chicago Sky? Chicago is a young team. All right. They were 2-3 years away removed from a WNBA title. and getting a new coach in Teresa Weatherspoon. So they're trying to work with this young nucleus right now. They're going to depend on their rookies, and then of course you got to depend on your vets like Mabry. Of course, Kennedy Carter. A lot of people have been attacking her because of how she plays, but that's how she's played her entire career. She's an aggressive individual when she's out on the court. She feels like she has something to prove. Also, it's like they saying that, I've heard some stuff about her, with her mouth and things like that. That's all being worked on. I think Teresa Weatherspoon is a great coach for Kennedy Carter because Teresa played the game. She knows the aspects of the W and how you have to handle yourself while you're on the court and when you're off the court. And yes, Asia Wilson, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, they are all breaking records. And we should focus on those instead of focusing on the stuff happening with her. Because granted, if anything happens to her, it's gonna be a blame game. What if she does it to herself? Y'all gonna find some way to blame that it wasn't her. She could have did it on her own. Like she's a ball player. Let her be a ball player. And things are happening. A lot of her stories are happening in this league. Like, I know it's crazy now. We mentioned about the record with Chicago Sky. I know Indiana just went above them. But what's going on with the Vegas Aces? Like, they don't, you got to understand, going back to back, that's great. But you're trying to go for that three-peat, and it's like really rough to see how they are right now. They have dropped, I think, their last 3-4 games right now, and they're sitting in the middle at 6-6. And so, and then you have the investigation scandal that's going on with them. So that's kind of taken the focus off, even though it was something positive for them, because it's something to benefit for the city of Vegas. And that, I don't know if that has become a distraction a little bit, because that's more money that goes into their pockets. But at the same time, I'm looking at it as what's going on the court, and it's not translating. But you got teams like Connecticut, New York trying to get back to that that WNBA finals once again. They're trying to get it back, and they're trying to showcase that we should have never got knocked off by the Vegas Aces. They playing really, really strong. Yeah, and that's true. Not having Chelsea Gray has been huge, and it's hurting. It's hurting them a lot. It's hitting too. You said hurting, but it's hitting because they're not getting it. And when she does return, hopefully they can turn things around and pull things over the edge for them right now. The Atlanta Dream, nobody really expected this Dream team to be where they are right now, sitting at 500. But the top 5 teams being the Phoenix Mercury with their new coach, Nate Tibbetts, doing well. Of course, Seattle Storm with Jewel Lloyd running the show, along with Skylar Diggins, is doing fantastic. You can't be surprised with what's going on with the Minnesota Lynx and the Fisa Collier. Of course, the New York Liberty and that Connecticut Sun team with DeWanna Bonner, Dejanay Carrington. They're doing an amazing job so far in the W, and a lot more great games are ahead of us. We still got 20 more games, 26 more weeks, 26 more games for these girls, and it's going to be fantastic. And I think it's going to go to the wire of who's going to be the big 8 that makes the playoffs. So it could change at any given moment. And right now, despite the discourse of where the W is right now, the competitive levels have definitely been at a high level. And I would recommend anyone to check out the games where you can in the market, or you got League Pass. Check it out. It is definitely good basketball to watch. And I think records were broken on CBS with the game this past weekend with Angel Reese's Chicago Sky and Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever. That's what we want to see, the drama that you're seeing. Like Shanae said, the we've been gone from 4% to 15%, and it's steadily growing because people are watching. They want to see it. They want to see what's going to happen. Let's be real. Let's be transparent. There are people that want to see Caitlin Clark fail. There are people that want to see Caitlin Clark succeed. There are people that want to see Angel Reese fail. There are people that want to see Angel Reese succeed because they were the focal points during that tournament run. And yes, we did get a viewership audience that's unprecedented. Same with South Carolina's basketball team, playing with a whole new team, and they won a championship. Just saying. I can't wait to see what this new league that they have coming up, this 3-on-3 league that they're having for January of next season. You know, it's an attempt to make sure that the girls are staying in the States instead of having to deal with the problems that they have to go when they go overseas to go play, because many of them still do. All right. You know what? Definitely the Women's Football Alliance, that actually has some sentiment to me because of a relationship. You know, one of my first dates was going to a women's football game. One of my first, before I got married, was going to a women's football game. It was quite the experience. Shout out to 590 The Fan, Ken Finesse in St. Louis, and Dave Green over at Barrett Sports Media. Shout out to him. All right, we're going to take a time out, come back with more of the show, and finish off Wild Wednesday, Say Hey Juneteenth Wednesday with some wrestling talk. And if you got a discussion that you want to discuss, hey, you throw it out there, okay? This we got it for fan. Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Same great taste. Yes, same great taste. Same great taste.
Welcome back to this edition of the A Train Show, the A Train Arlington Lane. Hey, folks, make sure that you tune in on Fuel Sports Network tonight. We're gonna do some specials shows. I think B-Hawk Live is gonna come back one more time. We'll see what happens. Of course, the A-Team drops, and then we got the X-Fan show right after that at 8 o'clock. And that show is for, if you're been a UFL fan, the topic is going to be for you guys. I know we've done that every show. I get that. But I want y'all to sound off on the season. I'm not going to do it here. I don't want to know nothing about it. It's going to be till later. All right. There's supposed to be some special guests coming on and stuff like that. So make sure you stay on with Fuel Sports Network this evening. That starts at 7 Eastern or 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll have that together for you guys here on Fuel Sports Network. All right. Y'all in the comments going in, man. I love it. All right. I want to touch on some of the W. I know my co-host that's with me on Monday and on Fridays, Robert Bailey Jr. is gonna be mad at me, but guess what? I got to do it for this audience because I got to talk about it. It's wrestling. It's a Wrestling Wednesday, man. Listen, I got to talk about it. All right, so bear with me. Oh, and the Jay-Z the King will be back tomorrow. So will Girl Chat Sports. They're actually special time tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. We'll get that information out as we can. All right. So yesterday, Monday, I should say, Monday, right? Monday on Raw, WWE Raw, was the return of a group that we've been waiting to see for quite some time. And, yes, and you know what, Sabrina? They thank you for that because I love that show too. Melissa and Mo are amazing together, and they still doing their thing strong. I know tonight for them, they won't be able to do it on their normal Wednesday night, so they're doing it tomorrow as a special. So make sure you tune in for that. But back to the W. My boy Jay Uso. If you didn't remember, the Wyatt Six return, and Friday will be more visual for him. So he's like, well, it was only 5 people that was there. Yes, that's true. There's one person missing. There's one person missing in that group. But this was a comment from Monday, right after Raw was over. And it's from Jay Uso. He had this to say.
Well, a well-scouted Uso splash to get yourself to Money in the Bank. Now, you took out a WWE Hall of Famer in Rey Mysterio and Finn Balor. Do you think that's going to help you in this multi-man match at Money in the Bank?
Yeah, Kathy. I mean, it boosts my confidence. I know that. Went out there and got the W like I said I was from my peoples who've been eating with me since day one. So I'm very proud about that.
Yeah, well, the WWE Universe also very concerned that you actually activated the Fireflies. So what is your response to that?
Did you saw the end of the Raw too? I mean, I don't want no smoke with them. I mean, for all I care, they can have the Fireflies back. You know what I'm saying? Because I want no problem with them. But I mean, I'm very happy I did activate Fireflies in this thing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boy, still going to show the love to Bray Wyatt. But his family is here now. That means I got to go.
Okay. Well, on that note, I will let you go.
Excuse me. Hey, yo. Shout out to Jay Uso, man. Wait a minute. if I activated it. Hey, I don't want no smoke, dog. I don't want no smoke. That was courtesy of WWE. Oh God. He's like, dog, I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing to do with that. Listen, hey, listen, I don't want nothing to do with this, dog. I don't want it. Oh man, but yeah, the Wyatt Six made their triumphant return on Monday, and he's like, WWE official said that you activated the butterflies. Hey, that means the transition from that was fantastic. Listen, when I know a lot of people give WWE crap and stuff like that because a lot of people are always curious on them being better than they were before. And so you couldn't have closed it out any better than that. Me personally, I thought they were going to start the show, but it made more sense for them to close the show. Yeah. I remember. Yeah, I remember the conversation. That he got permission to use the fireflies from JoJo, who was the fiance of wife of Bray Wyatt, excuse me. But yeah, that was comical to me, man, because they returned, they're here now. Like, this is my thing with right, he can. But the thing is, he's like, I don't want no smoke with him now. Then the Wyatt Six jumping into the mix now is letting me know that there's got to be some crazy things that's going to happen each week now, leading up to SummerSlam. Whether there's a match, even if they don't have a match, some chaos got to be occurring, and you can't just use them just to use them. Of course, matches is going to have to occur at some point, but I'm glad they were able to hold on to those that they found it. It's almost like they found their group. And I do wish that Bray Wyatt was alive to see this, because that group is here now. You know, no more there. Luke Harper's passed on. Of course, now Bray Wyatt has passed on. But man, if they were here and see this, and like it would cause so much chaos. Like, you would have thought the WWE was under siege. Like, I'm really interested to see how they utilize them week in and week out for this group. It's a great group to see with come on, man, it's not hard to figure out who these people are. It's Bo Dallas, Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, Dexter Lumis, and Eric Rowan, the returning Eric Rowan. Will Braun Strowman make his way back in? I think they want to use him as that monster among men type of character. Alexa Bliss is still out right now. So who's that sixth member? Hola, ¿cómo está? I did it right? Okay. So shout out to all my Texas people. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for sure as we get into this week leading up to Money in the Bank and into SummerSlam, because those are big months. But this month or next month and August are big months for WWE, because we leading on that road towards SummerSlam in Cleveland, Ohio. You know what? You know what? I'm good for this time right here. I'm good. I can stop right here. Yeah, I can stop. I ain't gotta do much else. All right, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet today because I want to get ready for later on tonight where it's gonna get a little nutty. It's gonna get a little crazy. But and plus I got a meeting I gotta attend to. So, all right, y'all. So for just a little while, just to wrap things up right here for this edition of Jr. will be back again. The Reverend Doctor will do the sports pulpit once again, but we'll wrap up the NBA Finals, and then we'll definitely we're gonna touch on some wrestling. And I got some friends that's going to join the program, and it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be fun. You don't want to miss that. Okay, we have a lot of fun here at the A Train Show. Hopefully, those that celebrate Juneteenth, you have a great celebration, and it's freedom, give us free. I wanted to throw that out there. She know who I'm talking to. All right, we'll catch you for another edition for the A Train Show right here on Fuel Sports Network, y'all. Y'all take care. I'm out. 2 fingers. 2. I think I did that right, 2.